preparing to live stream our meeting. Let's see what we've got here. Setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. All right. Preparing to live stream our meeting. Let's see what we've got here. We are live streaming. All right, friends. Setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. We're good.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to this month's Shop Talk Live. We're going to be featuring Cindy Royals and Kelly Felton with Fabricut, and they're going to talk to us a little bit about today about their products, feature all the different variety of things that they offer, as well as talk a little bit about the custom products that they can produce for all types of different customers. So welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, one quick thing, everybody might want to turn down their volumes, or if anybody else is talking, you might want to. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Here I am talking, and I've already muted myself. You might want to turn down your volume or mute it if somebody else is talking, just so we don't get a little bit of kickback. Just a point. Kat.
Welcome, Kat.
Hey, how are y'all this morning?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am good. I was trying to get myself in the right spot here.
So Mark, should I go ahead?
Sure. Yeah. Kelly, go ahead. Yeah. You said go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Felton. I'm the regional manager for Fabricut Contract. And we also have on the video, Cindy Royals, who is the territory rep for Georgia, the state of Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida. So in starting, I just want to introduce you to Fabricut Contract. We are the premier textile and wall covering company for hospitality, commercial, senior living, and healthcare interiors. We are your one-stop resource providing design solutions for your everyday specifications. Whether designing for a boutique hotel or a grand resort, Fabricut Contract manufactures and installs a full range of finished products, including draperies, top treatments, bedding, and decorative pillows. I'm now going to turn it over to Cindy, and we will go into our presentation to show you the different styles and colors and such that we can present and provide for you for your projects. Cindy?
All right. Thank you, Kelly. All right, let me go ahead and share the screen. All right. Kelly, Heather, everybody can see the PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, if you can just go to the slideshow.
Okay. Is it coming through?
Not yet.
Really? That's weird. It's up on my screen.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
I was just going to have you go so it doesn't have the slides on the left. So go to slideshow and then start from beginning.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
No problem.
Oh, hold on. Good Lord. Good Lord.
Go over to slideshow at the top.
My glasses on. Where do you see that, Kelly? Oh,
There we go. And then play from start at the to the left under home.
here. Somebody's trying to call in at the same time.
There you go.
All right, we got it. All right, so this is Fabricut Contract. And Fabricut Contract has been in the industry well over 50 years, coming close to, I think, 75. Back in the early 80s, we started as a manufacturer. So we had a small amount of finished product patterns that was primarily for your bedding and your drapery. And in the mid 80s, we started increasing our collection for fabrics per se. But we started out as a manufacturer in the contract division, whereas there's other companies in the industry today who started out as a fabric supplier and then walked into fabrication. We actually started with manufacturing and walked into fabrics. And why I think that's important is because when you are working on a custom project, or when Matt and I are working on a custom project, oftentimes there are questions and situations that come up that we can answer very, very quickly because we have the background knowledge. So as Kelly said, we are a manufacturer. Where'd it go? Lindsay, why isn't this going down my screen?
Okay, maybe go to the next one because I think you added in a, oh.
Okay, I'm not sure why it wasn't working. But anyways, here's just a few visuals of the type of work that we do, you guys. So we manufacture everything from top of the bed, from duvets to coverlets, bed blankets, to your bed skirts, your huggers, things like that. Drapery, roller shades, shower curtains, cubicles, decorative pillows for your bed, as well as your sofas. There's really not much that we don't manufacture anymore. And as Kelly was saying, we are a one-stop resource. I'll show you at the very end of here our website, and it can get very overwhelming with the number of solutions that you have at your hands. We are the company that puts it all together. So we're going to take the fabric and the fabrication and give you the finished product that you want. Now, why that's so easy for us is because, number one, we have a wealth of product at our hands. We have some very skilled and long time crafted individuals who've been in this industry doing this type of work. And then my office, we support Black Hat and Matt and Mark both. So when they're bringing us a project and they're saying, hey, Cindy, this is what the property is looking for, can you help me with it? Then we sort of step in and we sort of play designer. My background is design, so I will have that knowledge for you on hand. So whether or not you are picking from one of our styles, or there's something that you want us to match, if you have an existing configurant in the facility, we can always match whatever you're trying to do. And then, of course, when we give you a finished product quote, that will include the fabric and the fabrication. We will not break that up, okay? The type of categories that we often step into is your drapery. Pinch pleat is often the most popular used, and then we're seeing more and more ripple fold. And of course, we can do grommet. If you want to do shower curtains, a grommet style would be a nice way to add some luxury to the bathroom. When it comes to shades, we can do Roman shades, we do roller shades, and I'll give you a little bit of a thumbprint designs on some of the options that we can do. Your top treatments, your cornices, your valance, whether you want to use wood, whether you want to use fabric. When you get into bedding, and again, it's kind of open to whatever you want it to look like. We are one of those manufacturers that we step really nicely into residential. Our styling is more of a residential styling than most manufacturers. We don't look corporate and we don't look contract. We are more residentially focused. Now, being that said, the products that you would specify and you would get from us would all meet contract standards. So they're going to pass your flame standard and also your washability to certain temperatures. And if you wanted to include your finishes for soil and stain repellency, then those are things we can add for you at the same time. Pillows are a wonderful placement in especially resorts and multifamily, because it's a quick way for the properties to freshen up a room. If you're not going to change your furniture, you might want to come in and do some decorative pillows that kind of freshen up the space a little bit. Now, we can just provide it with a cover, or we can give you the cover with the insert as well. And then, of course, when you start walking into drapery, the visual you're looking at here is going to be your cornice board, and of course your top treatment cornice board, and then your drapery. as I mentioned, the 3 styles we primarily do is your ripple fold, your pleat, and your grommet. And depend on whether or not you're doing decorative hardware or more contract hardware, you would be using the commercial hardware if you were doing your pinch pleat, and you might be doing something decorative if you were doing your grommets. Okay, we have an entire line of decorative hardware for you guys to choose from. We can give you a quote for the hardware as well as the pre-measure and the install. So it's kind of a one-stop shop. When it comes to your shades, these are going to be 2 different styles. It's going to be the flat standard and then of course the wall hugger. And so depending on the configuration of your window and if you have any light leakage that's coming out the sides, that might be a consideration. You would send a picture of the room, of the window to Matt. He would share it with me, and then we would tell you what we think would be best to produce. When it comes to roller shades, we can offer you several different styles. These are our standards. We can give you an open roll, which doesn't have a header. It is by far the least expensive, but as you will see, you do see the mechanism. You see where the roller shade comes down. And if you want to cover that, then we can provide you with a 3-inch fascia, a 3.5-inch fascia, or a 5-inch fascia, okay? And that's just going to give it a little bit more of a clean line for you. Also, Kelly, if there's anything that you want to interject while I'm going through, just little small points, just holler at me and I can slow down.
Yeah.
When you get into roller shades, that's the one area where a lot of people see light leakage. It used to be back in the day, everybody did side panels. And at first it was a traversing center draw or a single draw. And then it got to side panels, which were stationary. And then it seems like a lot of properties are now going to roller shades. Well, the roller shades are very thin material, and depending on how you're going to mount it, you want to mount it underneath the windowsill. And so if you don't include side channels or sill channels, oftentimes you can get a little bit of a light leakage off the side. Or if you're bringing the roller shade in front of the window, you might want to make sure, we would make sure, that it's expanding past the window enough so that it's going to trap that light leakage.
Cindy?
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out on the roller shade. So I stayed at a hotel last year, and it was really nice because not only did they have they had the clear or translucent roller shade, and it was they had the double mechanism. So they had the translucent, then they had a blackout, and then they had the sill channels also. So it was great because there was no light leakage. It was like a cave in there, and I loved it. So it's really a really nice feature, but also a necessary feature, in my opinion, for your hotel guests or for people that really need that blackout condition in their room.
Absolutely. You know, the other thing is, I'm going to go back up one screen, Kelly, because if we were using this with a cornice board, whether it's fabric or whether it's wood, we would probably cost effectively offer you the open roll, because there's really no reason to do a fascia if you've got a cornice of some type there to capture the light. So really good point, Kelly. A lot of people are complaining about it. And I will say the other thing is the brands have been having to deal with noise control. So it used to be that the blinds and all the soft surfaces in a room would capture a lot of the noise. Now you have hard surfaces. They've taken out the carpet. We now have LVT. We have hard surface on the floors, and now we don't have any drapery on the window. Some of these ways we can build your package together might be also to help you bring down the level of noise if you have client complaints for that. Okay. And then your top treatments, you can tell us how you want these built. You can be as decorative or as simple as you want. There's the cornice boards, and those cornice boards would come with a cover on the top. so that you would have complete coverage on the top as well as on the sides. We can do these in a laminate as well as a painted wood finish. And then of course we can also do it with an upholstered. We have some clients who want us to do it with a self welt. You can do it with a contrasting welt, or you can just do it as a non-weltless construction. It depends on how contemporary you want that profile to be. And then of course, you've also got the valance that's in there. Now the valance, dependent on the width of your window, we're probably going to tell you either we're going to railroad the fabric to make sure that it gets all the way across, or if you've got a pattern, you're going to consider we'd have to run it up and down, up the bolt. And in that particular situation, we would want to do sort of the tailored and, oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Really help me with that. Anyways, so you do have the different options. And of course, we would walk you through those different platforms to be able to build all of this for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then shower curtains. Shower curtains, again, can be as decorative as you want them to be. We could use something from our cubicle collection. We can use any of our 54-inch wide polyesters that is washable, or we could also create something for you. So if you wanted to use a design or you wanted to use the logo of the property, that's something that we could digitally print as well. And this is just showing your grommet construction. And of course, we also have the button construction as well. And then when it comes to bedding, this is all over the board. We do duvets and comforters and bed blankets, and it just really depends. Even scarves at the bottom of the bed. If you're in multifamily or in timeshare and you just want to refresh that white bed that might look a little stale right now, just adding in a little decorative piece at the bottom might be nice. Box spring huggers, bed skirts, anything you're looking for.
Slide, they can see a couple different designs.
Yep. So you've got the capped. The capped would be, we would railroad the fabric and wrap it all the way around the bedding so that you wouldn't have any seams at the corners. However, the seam at the corner does really nice because it does hug the box spring. And then of course also the skirt cap. The 5-pleat tailored skirt, and then also just the 2-pleat. That's really nice. We have a lot of people that are going in that direction. And then when it comes to pillows, again, you know, a lot of properties are thinking they can go out to Wayfair or Overstock or TJ Maxx or Home Goods. The problem with that is you can't get the same pillow for every room. This allows you, if you're working with us, we can not only digitally print, customize, or build your pillow so that every room is going to match, including your flanges and your self-welts, your bolsters, your 20-inch square, your 18-inch square, whether you're looking for a 24 by 30, if you're looking for a bolster, there's really not much that we're not manufacturing in. These are just a couple of our thumbnail prints. The other thing is, if you have an insert, please know we can make your cover. So we don't have to supply you with both.
And I would also add in that on the pillows, it's nice because by purchasing the fabric through us and having the pillows made, we can make sure that the product is one, contract grade, so it's going to hold up in that daily wear and tear, but also that you can have a soil and stain repellent if it's not already on there added, so it helps with keeping it clean and I would say more sanitary, really.
Well, we can also make sure that we are using something that is from our washable collection. So quite honestly, all they have to do is unzip it, throw it in the wash, put it back on the pillow, and you know, after a couple of visits, you've got a really nice sanitary surface that people don't have to be worried about.
Right.
Heather, any questions? Matt, any questions?
No, I think you have done a fantastic job going through all of the different options that Fabricut can help with. One of the things, Cindy, I know you brought a sample of one of the properties, one of Matt's properties that you guys did. And one of the things that I thought was fascinating was that we were talking about before our Shop Talk launched, is that you can match and digitally print to the colors. So if someone already, doesn't want to swap out the carpeting or doesn't want to swap out the artwork, or you can match that. So right. I think that's important for you to expand on a bit.
So oftentimes Matt will give me a call. He'll send me an email or a call and he'll say, hey, Cindy, I'm working with a resort. I'm working with a timeshare. And if you'll go online, you can see pictures of the property. And this is what we're trying to work around. And oftentimes we're working with existing environments, right? So we're only going to change the drapery, we're only going to change the bed, we're only going to change a bed pillow. Just remember, we have no minimums. So if you want to make one pillow, if you want to make one shower curtain, one drapery, those are things that we can accommodate for you, but we can also do multiples. So say if you are a resort property and you have multiple designs in your facility, we could do 10 rooms of this and 5 rooms of this and 20 rooms of this. There's not a lot of manufacturers who want to do that limited type of work. They want one thing and they want the entire order to be broadcast. We have that flexibility. Now, when Mark sent me, or Matt, I should say, sent me this last project, it was a resort, gosh, if I'm not mistaken, it was in Denver, it was in Colorado somewhere. And he sent me a fabric that they currently had in the room. And he said, Cindy, I know we can't get this, and I know Fabricut is not going to knock this off for us. However, what do you think that you have that might be close enough within your line? So just remember, we have, Fabricut is one of the many lines under Fabricut's umbrella. We have 8 brands. Within one of those brands, we were able to pick a design that was very similar to what the property already had. And all we did is create it into a digital design, and we recolored it to match the existing. And it was just pillows. It was just pillows for the top of the bed. And when I talk about that, Heather, can I share really quickly again?
Please do. Yeah, please.
Okay. Let me show you our website. So just remember, Fabricut Contract has its own dedicated web page. So it would be fabricutcontract.com. And when you're looking at this, it can get very overwhelming. There's a lot of things that we can offer and do for your clients. So it's always easier to go through your distributors like Black Hat, and let us filter through there, okay? Now, when you're looking, we give you the option of pulling fabrics, whether it's a bedding collection, whether it's a digital collection. Going back here really quickly. You can search drapery fabrics. We also provide indoor-outdoor. So again, if you are a resort somewhere near the coast and you want to make sure that your fabrics or your pillows and things like that's going to hold up to bleach cleanability, this might be a great collection to go into. The other thing is when you look at finished product, we have its own category, and we have a finished product catalog that they can download and look through. And it's got most of the visuals that we've already seen in today's presentation. But again, it's a great starting point so they can talk to you guys about what they're needing, okay? And then you can even look at hardware. So right now, I think we have 6 or 7 hardware collections, anything from Paris, Texas, which happens to be, I think, the most popular, to the finial company, Byron and Byron, if you're looking for something a little bit more decorative and colored and a little bit unique, to things that are quick ship. We actually have a quick ship program. So again, if that's something that interests you, now these can be in rooms, but they can also be in your public areas. So if you're doing a lobby or you're doing a suite or you're doing, maybe you're taking one of the restaurants or something, these are great visuals for y'all to use. And we would send you a wood finish to select from. And then if you got over to advanced search, you could filter it through category. So let's say we're doing NFPA 701. NFPA 701 is your drapery vertical fire code. So you would click onto that and it's going to give you everything we sell within
169 pages worth.
Like I said, we can overwhelm you. That's why it's always really good to work with your distributors. But you can also search by washable, right? I would say the best thing to do would just be to start with Matt or Mark, and then come back to us and say, this is what I'm looking for. Show me how to get there. Oh, one really quick thing. So let me show you how we developed this pattern, right? So if you go to Fabricut, you'll see that Fabricut has all these other brands, okay? We found this pattern in a cotton print in the Vervain line. And the reason I want to show this to you is because oftentimes, whether it's a resort or a timeshare or a multifamily, or even nowadays, it's a lot of senior living, they want to take these residential prints and be able to use them in a contract environment. Because these are designs that we own and we develop, we have the rights to them. We don't have to buy the rights to them. We already own it. So if somebody called up and said, hey, I really want to, turn this print into something that I can use for either bedding or drape or maybe even a shower curtain, then that is something that we can help you design. What you think, Miss Heather?
I think it's fantastic.
Cindy, I have a question. In terms of all the custom work, if somebody really wanted to come in and customize, say, their resort and do multiple rooms, say maybe a whole floor, say maybe 10 units, and kind of do it in a tiered process where, every month they do a certain amount of rooms. What's the lead time for something like that in terms of
your lead time, more than anything, Mark, is going to be driven by your fabric receipt, because right now we are seeing some extended lead times in the market when it comes to fabrics, and I'm sure everybody is. We're seeing it in foam, we're seeing it in wood for furniture, and as well as even building materials. So we are seeing a little bit of that challenge. I would say, depending on the location of the mill and how much fabric you're going to need, that lead time could fluctuate. We might be able to get something in 1 week, and we might have something that's a 10 to 12 week lead time. Okay. Right? Now, when it comes to manufacturing, the manufacturing lead time is about 6 to 8 weeks. So you would have to factor in the lead time for your fabric and then the lead time for your manufacturing. Okay. Now, and like you said, Mark, we can also partial ship. So if you've got floors that you're closing down and you're only doing these 12 rooms first, we can install those 12 rooms and we can come back at a later date when you don't have as much occupancy and install different rooms. Okay. It is absolutely.
Now for the quick ship products, how do you find quick ship? I mean, just a matter of days?
Yeah, it could be a matter of days, but remember, that's just your hardware. The hardware is quick ship. So let me give you a breakdown on how long I think it would take to develop a custom product, because I think that's oftentimes what facilities kind of back away from. They think, I've got to go find something that's in stock. And right now, I'm not familiar with any company who has like stocked, customized drapery and bedding products. So if we're developing something from the bottom up, you're probably looking at about 8 to 10 weeks for development, depending on what it is. It could be shorter than that. And then you'd have the lead time for the fabric, and then you'd have the lead time for the manufacturing. Whereas if we can find something that we have that we can get that's already in our line and we don't have to do any kind of customization, that's always the quickest. But I think just by showing you the website, you can see there's a lot on there. There's a lot of products that you guys have at your disposal. There's no way for even any of our contract design firms to stock our entire library. I can't even. So when Matt calls and says, hey, Cindy, I'm working on a project, just know that I've been with Fabricut Contract now for 21 years. There's not much I'm not familiar with, and there's not a lot of products that I haven't seen over and over and over again. It's easy for me. We step in as a design role. We help facilitate what the property is looking for, and we put options in front of Matt that he can present to his clients. So you guys have something to choose from. It's not like we're saying, oh, this is the only thing we have to offer, and you take it or leave it. There's multiple options that they would have if they worked with us.
That's awesome.
And if you have a design of, say, a drapery or a bed skirt or something that you didn't see in our presentation today, please, we are able to do other items as well. These are just some of the more popular ones we wanted to show you. So if you have a design, if you have a picture from somewhere, please let Matt or Mark know what that is, and they can bring it to Cindy, and they can work with you and get a quote on it, and see what we can do to make that happen for you.
And oftentimes, if we're doing fabrication for a property, we have some properties that we've worked with as long as I've been a sales rep. They just come back every single time because we make it easy. The quoting process is simple. Our costs include the fabric and the manufacturing. We can give you a cost for the install and the pre-measure, and they know that they're going to get not only the contract quality of products that's going to last for their environments, but we're always going to be there to support them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important to talk about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And another thing I want to point out is if you have, if we're working with, if Matt and Mark are working with you and it's a newer product or a product that you're ordering a larger quantity of, we will always make one and ship it to you and let you try it out first, whether it's a bed hugger or a bed skirt or what have you, whatever it is, you're going to have one sent to you so you can make sure it looks, feels, and measures the way you want it to. And then once we get the go ahead, then we'll continue on with the rest of the order.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's a great point, because we had a situation, I believe, with one of Matt's customers where they ordered, it was back to what we were talking about earlier about measurements being off. And so it was nice that before you manufactured everything for their line, that they had that one where they were able to touch it, feel it, put it on the bed and say, okay, this isn't quite the right size, to make adjustments before you made a bunch of them. And so, Kelly, I think that's a great point to bring up is it's not a sample. So it's different than a sample, but it is, it makes sure that what you've ordered is truly what you're expecting to get.
So we've had, Heather, to just, to reiterate that, we've had situations where the owner he wanted the housekeeping to place an order for new skirts. And of course, the housekeeping was working with old specs. They saw a 7-inch box spring. And when it got ordered, it was 7. When we did the sample, it turns out it was too small. And the owner had in between ordered new box springs to meet brand standards. So they're now at 9. So it's a really good thing to make one and then make sure that it fits before we make 30 or 40 or 100 of anything.
Right.
And I will say, Mark had over here, he put a little note in there for everybody, just saying that there is a tier price. Just so that you know, there is a tier price. There's a 1 to 7 each cost, and then anything over 7, that cost does come down. So again, I talk about no minimums, but from 1 to 7, there is one cost, and after 7, there's a lower cost. And I will also say this, we don't tell our customers this very often, but did you know when we quote fabrication that the cost of the fabric that we put in there is cost. So a lot of times when you're working with another manufacturer, there's the cost of their manufacturing. They're going to buy our fabric, but then they got to mark it up, right? We don't have to do that. And not only that, but we're taking the freight from the warehouse where the fabric is coming into to the workroom. So you don't ever see the freight expense from us to our workroom. You only see one freight that goes from the workroom to the property. Unlike if you, again, were working with a manufacturer B and you were buying our fabric, you'd have to pay for the freight to go from us to them, and then the freight to go from them to the property. So it does add up. The little costs do add up.
Yeah. Awesome.
Let me see, what
Any
else?
other questions?
Anything else, Matt?
Matt's microphone isn't working, but I think Matt was looking through the chat here to see if Matt had anything that he said that one of the things that he likes about Fabricut is very high retention of customers coming back. So to a point that you made earlier is that they're happy with your service, your product, your delivery. So I think that speaks volumes when you have customers that come back and decide, okay, they're going to add on or redo, and years later, that's important.
Well, I think it's important for the customers recognize it's a one-stop shop process. So it's not like you have subcontractors coming in and doing one thing and you guys are doing another and somebody else is doing a third. You're all working together. And I think the ease of that, I think once a customer sees the ease of the process, and I think you may have addressed it earlier, if there's a question, if there's issues or anything, they're not pointing fingers. It's one shop. So they can go and get a single answer from one company and not have to chase down different companies or subcontractors or people. It's one stop shop. And once they realize the ease of that, and when you do a quote, it's encompassing everything. Whereas some other manufacturers may quote bits and pieces or piecemeal it, and you're trying to figure it out, you get one quote and it incorporates everything.
Say, think of us as a vertically integrated manufacturer, right? So we do everything. We supply the fabric, we supply the fabrication, we can pre-measure, we can install. Everything is under one house. And that makes it easier for them, especially when they want something that looks like a custom design, which could be for them, but they're not having to pay for it. And we're also making it easier to get there quicker than if they were going out and trying to put it all together themselves.
Right.
Well, and I think, with us at Black Hat, our tagline is supply solutions simplified. And that's one of the reasons we love working with Fabricut and bringing our customers to you, is because we want it to be easy for our customers. And that's what our goal as a company for us is to be a one-stop shop for our customers. And so you guys really help make that come full circle for us.
And of course, Matt just chimed in. He said he tells his customers they're getting designer help without paying a designer fee. Which is actually very true. It is just true. It is true. Yeah, yeah.
And obviously, Heather, Fabricut wants to make it very simple and easy for Black Hat to work with us as well. So we try to start it from us and take it all the way through to the customer.
We definitely appreciate that. And I know that the customers that we've worked with so far have appreciated it as well.
Great.
Is there anyone, Mark, any other questions you can think of before we close up?
Not that I can think of. Matt's just comment was, well, that's what gets their attention.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, I don't have any other questions. I think today has been great, informative for me. I mean, I knew you always did top of the bed, but so many a lot more products than I thought. I mean, it blew my mind. I mean, it really did. And the fact that the ease of customization or working with what a customer already has, maybe they don't have a budget to redo the whole hotel, but they may have a certain budget to do certain key pieces to, just like you said, refresh the room. It may be a pillow or maybe a bed scarf or just something to just freshen it up a little bit or have a little pop, a little color pop, especially in some of the resorts in Florida that are looking to just, brighten things up a bit. And I think that's just great. And the fact that it's easy to do, it's remarkable. So appreciate all that you guys do.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Heather, thank you for setting this up for us. That was very generous. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you educating our customers and educating our viewers and potential customers because like Mark said, I think it's very eye-opening when we get to hear it straight from you guys on what you can do for the our Black Hat customers. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, thanks. And we look forward to working with you all further.